Hey, let's take some time to talk about your first project, the coin mover device. So make sure that you have your little yellow sheet. I am going to assume that all of you guys know how to read, so I'm not going to go through every single little tiny bit, but I will talk about some really important things and things that students tend to miss on their very first project. So essentially, what we are trying to do is you are trying to create like a vehicle out of the junk that you were provided, and you are going to let it slide down a ramp onto the floor, and you're trying to get those coins as far as possible and as many coins as possible, right? So the more coins, the more distance, the better it is for you in the end of the game. Um, so you aren't going to be able to push it. You're not going to be able to launch it. You just put it at the top of the ramp. You let it go, and we're going to measure how far that thing goes after the ramp ends. As far as our equipment goes, things that you're going to be able to use, 12 spaghetti noodles, uncooked. And you cannot cook them because people have tried in the past. You get 3 thumbtacks. You get a foot of tape, 12 inches of tape, and it's dollar store tape, so it's not actually very good. So kind of watch out for that. We have 4 paper clips. We have 3 ping pong balls or table tennis balls that you can use. We have 2 of the fuzzy little pipe cleaners that you can use. We have 2 index cards, and these are actually kind of the bigger ones. So you have a little bit extra space if you need to use that for some structural support. You get 1 rubber band, and you get 1 little Dixie cup. I will provide all the coins for you, so we have plenty of nickels and plenty of pennies. You also get a plastic bag that holds all of your stuff, but you can't actually use that bag for your design. It's just to make sure that we don't leave a big mess in the classroom. So those are the things that you have available to you to create this coin mover device. Let's talk about that engineering notebook. So this is the digital notebook that you have set up that we're going to record pictures and document your progress and your thought process and things like that. Generate concepts, that is going to be completely individual. I would also recommend that you do this outside of class. I'll give you maybe 10 minutes in class to do it, but it'll take you more time than that if you're doing a pretty good job. Once everyone in your crew, excuse me, once everyone in your crew is done with the generate concepts, you're going to come together to do the develop a solution, go from 6 ideas to 3 ideas to 1 idea, and then individually, you're going to create a nice fancy isometric sketch of the thing that you are doing. So this is like the blueprint that you're going to use to actually build your device. On the back side of your yellow sheet is your construct and test prototype. And this is where a lot of your documentation is going to take place. So as you start to build that first prototype, you want to constantly take pictures of your device so you can upload it and show exactly the process that you went through to build this coin mover device. So once you have your first prototype, then you want to test it. I will have some ramps set over on either side of the room. You're going to be able to stuff that thing with coins, and you're going to let it slide down the ramp and actually get some data. So you need to have data to show that you are able to move on, or if you need to improve or whatnot. Now, one of the tricky things is the score that you need to reach. The minimum score is 8,800. And on the yellow sheet, the way that you can calculate that is for every penny that you have in there, you take your pennies times 4 times the number of inches that you traveled, plus the number of nickels times 7 times the distance that is traveled in inches, right? So nickels are a little bit more mass, so they're more points, but potentially you can stuff more pennies in there. So you have to kind of decide what's the most optimal way to get the most amount of coins, but also the biggest distance. So you need to create a prototype, test it, and revise it. Test it and revise it. You need to cycle it. Even if you get, let's say, 14,000 right off the bat, you still need to use the entire time to improve it and make it better and better and better. If you're not at that 8,800, you better figure out ways to get up to that point. The way that we will test all that out is on the last day. You'll have about a minute to do as many runs as you possibly can. to see what your best score is going to be. Now, I hate to jump around. Let's go back to the front of that document real quick. The design constraints, some things that we have to worry about. So we already have the score, right? 8,800 is the minimum that you need to get to be successful in the project. You can't push it, you can't launch it. You just have to set it, let it go, and kind of watch it go from there. Your device and your coins need to stay intact for the entire motion. So you can't like smash into the ground and have everything explode and use the farthest, I don't know, bit of your device. It has to stay intact with all the coins in there as well. Your design must also be sufficiently complex. So you can't just create like a tube out of 3 ping pong balls in the index cards, smash it full of coins, and let it roll like a hot dog down the ramp. Right? There needs to be a design aspect in the actual creation of your device. And if you're not quite sure what that looks like, come talk to me and I can let you know if it's good or not. And also, you must be able to put coins in and take coins out quickly. So you can't stuff something in an object, tape it up really, really hard, and then let it go. You need to be able to put coins in, take coins out really, really quickly, or else it kind of defeats the purpose of the project. So those are some of those constraints that we need to watch out for. The evaluate solution, again, is based on your redesign. One of the most difficult parts of this project is the daily progress section, where you are recording what you did that day on that day, which means if you collected data on the 27th, you need to create a slide on the 27th that has all that information. Right? You can't build it on the 28th and go back and show what you did on previous days. So you may need to take a little bit of time in class to do that, use some seminar time, use some time after school to really knock that out. Same thing if you do some work outside of class, you're welcome to add that into your mix as well. And then last but not least is your reflection. And this is just kind of a thoughtful idea of the process that you've gone through. What have you learned? What are some things that you struggled with? And so on and so forth. Of course, you're welcome to ask questions about any of this stuff as we get going, but I would highly recommend in the time that you have is read through this document, kind of add that to the notes that you just took over what we were talking about, and get ready to go because it's going to be very quick, and think about what things you can do outside of class to make your time in class a little bit more useful.